I'm excited to share with you some relatable and often laugh out loud stories from the community on Reddit's Relationship Advice Forum, where people open up about their most intimate and embarrassing moments. Get ready for a journey of self-discovery, awkwardness, and maybe even a few nods of recognition as we dive into these real-life tales of love, heartbreak, and everything in between. Caught a guy in my GF bed last night, 26 female, 24 male. So last night, me and my girlfriend was in a bit of an argument that she initiated, and then after I just bit my tongue and apologized to her, she completely ignored the apology and went on about something else. The argument was that I didn't feel comfortable with her hanging out with this guy in her room alone, especially after he made some uncomfortable verbal advances to her. She then later, the night told me she understood and she wouldn't have him in her room alone anymore. But when she went Mia for 2 hours, I got a little curious and something deep inside me kept telling me to go over to her house. Like an echoing voice in the back of my head saying, go to her house. So I eventually went over to her house after I got off my second job. And as I pulled in, she texted saying she's been reading a book. I text her regularly like, okay, that's cool. I hope you're enjoying the book. Right after I sent that last text, I walk into her room and right there, I see this guy we just had this discussion about laid up in her bed. She tried saying that his ribs were broken and he needed help, but she's not a nurse nor a doctor. So I'm like, what the fuck? Why would your friends drop him off at your house? Why not take him to the hospital? He could have internal bleeding of something along the lines. So I'm obviously upset and am losing my mind. He starts talking shit to me and then I end up threatening him, but I didn't hurt anyone. She just kept saying he can't afford the hospital, but I mean, man, you're gonna have to go to the hospital over some broken ribs, eventually lol. So this was all suspicious from the jump, especially after she just told me she wouldn't have this guy in her room alone anymore. She then texted me and said that she knows she fucked up for not telling me, but she wasn't sorry for it. So I broke up with her right then and there. Mind you, she has a habit of lying to me about various things. And each time I've broken up with her for something along the lines, she's crawled back to me, begging for me back, and practically acting like she's changed. But at this point, I'm so mentally and emotionally exhausted, drained, I don't even want to eat or work. I have only been eating once a day for the last month because the deep depression she's caused me. How do I move on and heal? TDLR. I caught my girlfriend with a guy in her bed after she told me she wouldn't have him over anymore after he's made uncomfortable verbal advances to her. Now let's check out some of the comments on this post. I recently recovered from broken ribs. You know what you don't do? Drive. Cuddle. But effing move in any direction, because it hurts. Walk away. She's a terrible person, and a bad liar. For real. I fell out of a tree as a kid and bruised my ribs and could barely do anything. Can't even imagine what breaking them would feel like. No way he was moving around and cuddling if he was actually that injured. Fractured one by jumping out of a tree and hitting a branch on the way down, and it was so painful when I landed, I could barely breathe. I've had broken ribs and bruised ribs. Bruised ribs by far are worse than broken. Broken ribs heal much faster too. The pain is something I almost wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. Yeah, seriously. So you know what else you don't do with broken ribs? Which they probably were. But let's pretend they aren't. Even if they didn't, you don't need permission to break up with a girl who lied. Or who lied about a guy. Or who lied about a guy in her bed. Or who lied about a guy in her bed again. And now for the next story. I, 32 female, said yes to his 38 male proposal, but no to the ring. How do we move forward? Essentially, my partner and I had been speaking about marriage for a long time. Near the beginning of 2024, I started sending him pictures of rings that I liked, even though we had agreed to go ring shopping together. We have a shared album of nearly 60 pictures of rings, and they're all the same. A colored stone and gold band, with some intricate details. It's important to note that I specifically don't like diamonds or silver. He has always known this and bought me jewelry in the past, never silver or diamonds. Fast forward to the end of 2024, and he proposes with a ring that is nothing like any of the pictures I had sent him. It was a large diamond in a silver band, with diamonds wrapping around the band. I said yes, I do marry him, but not with that ring. He was incredibly upset and I was very confused. I asked him why he'd get that ring, knowing I don't like diamonds or silver. He said the women he worked with liked it, and the salespeople at the store, obviously they would. I asked if he'd shown any of them the pictures of rings I had sent him, and he said no. He really had no reasoning for it. It would be considered a beautiful ring by many, and when I looked it up on the company's website, it was very expensive. Between $6K and $8K. The rings I liked were between $400 and $1,200. But it felt like he bought a ring for a woman. Any woman, not me. He said he wanted me to have something to show off, but I feel like it was more so for him to show off. Luckily, he was able to return it. Now it's been a couple months, and everything has gone back to normal except he says we aren't engaged. He says he was very hurt, and I can understand that to an extent. But I feel like he did it to himself. He took all the knowledge he had of me and all the tools I gave him and threw them away. I'm ready to move past it and look toward the future, but he says he can't yet. So my question is, how do we move forward from this? Too long. Didn't read. My partner proposed with a ring he knew I wouldn't like. I rejected it, and now he can't move past it. Where do we go from here? Now let's check out some of the comments on this post. Dude is focused on the wrong thing. He was asking for a wife, not validation in his jewelry aesthetic. He got a yes. The rest is irrelevant. Also, people, if you must use a ring, propose with a cheap placeholder ring, and then go ring shopping together. Very romantic and everyone leaves happy. Or, propose, and then go ring shopping. Or, discuss your future plans like adults, jointly decide to get married, and then go ring shopping. The surprise proposal thing is really just silly and unnecessary. Here's the response from OP. We had agreed to go ring shopping together, but he loves surprises. Well, then he's not very smart. Does what he loves always take priority over what you love? And now for the next story. We haven't talked in days. Dating 4 years. M30F33. My girlfriend and I have been dating for 4 years and live together. She's more of a homebody while I'm more socially, enjoy going out, working out, and have more friends than she does. Over the past year, we've been arguing more. I was working stressful jobs, which made me snappy and short-tempered. She often starts fights, but I tend to escalate them and say things I regret. I've been working on controlling my reactions, but I still slip up sometimes, and I feel awful when I do. Recently, she started an argument over what I was eating, raw eggs, saying it was unhealthy. I chuckled at first, but she kept repeating herself. By the 5th time, I snapped back. Sitting on the couch all the time isn't healthy, either. She called me a jerk and insulted my expression. Instead of escalating, I walked away to work out. We then went 2 days without speaking, despite living together. She left presumably to her family's house, and it's now been 3 more days of silence. This doesn't feel like the usual silent treatment since we're both doing it. I love her, but I can't keep dealing with these arguments. Breaking up would mean uprooting my life, especially in such an expensive city. I don't know what to think or do. And now for the next story. My BF recorded me during sex without consent. 38, male 37 something. He's an amazing man, he loves me, and I haven't met anyone like him. He treats me amazingly. However, he recorded me during sex recently. He told me he was just turning on the flashlight to see better, but I saw he was recording. I confronted him. He admitted to it, apologized, and deleted it. It still rubbed me the wrong way, and I feel like he broke my trust. He knows how I feel, and he feels terrible. I just found out that this is a crime in California. We already talked about it, and I'm not sure how to really get past this. I don't think he knows what he did was a crime, and he said he'll never do it again. I'm worried this is a sign of something else he can do in the future. I know all relationships have their issues and no one is perfect. I'm just looking for some insight and advice. How do I get past this? We have amazing connection and communication. I don't know how more to talk to him about this. He knows he broke my trust, and I know he's devastated. I will not file a police report, so please don't suggest or advise it. Do I just give it time and process it? Too long. Didn't read he recorded me during sex. I confronted him. He apologized and immediately deleted it. I still feel crummy about it all. How do I get past this? Now let's check out some of the comments on this post. Listen to your gut. Waiting around won't change how you feel. Amazing men don't violate consent and lie. He's only devastated he got caught. After you didn't fall for his lie, he changed his strategy to tell you exactly what you wanted to hear. Yeah, the he's devastated got me. She views it as him being devastated. What she interpreted as devastation was his fear that she was going to press charges or get him in trouble. This poor girl, man. She's in such denial. Not girl, full-grown, almost 40-year-old woman who should be way past this point of gullibility. I think if we look at this with a kinder lens, nobody wants to realize that the person they have put their trust in on such a deep level has violated them. There is no age limit on the denial and shock that can come immediately following the trauma of a sexual consent violation. I hope this post can lead to clarity as to how serious this really is. How do I get one of those pointy emojis to point to the comment above this one? Because, yeah, I'm not saying OP has done anything wrong here, but I sincerely hope she takes a good look at exactly what this scumbag has done and finds the much-deserved wrath that needs to be thrown at him. He's devastated that he got caught, and he can't keep filming her, has to deal with the consequences of his own shitty behavior. Cry me a fucking river, man child. Check his phone for older recordings of exes. I was here to say this, and also check for any photos he may have taken that you aren't aware of. Also, if you have sent him any nudes, delete them from his phone. Obviously, he can't be trusted. And now for the next story. I, 25 male, dated my coworker best friend, 24 female, but we just broke up. My coworker and I have been friends since college. We met sophomore year in the same dorm. She actually got my foot in the door for an interview at the job we both currently work at. I just moved to the same city as her in June to be closer for this job, and it has been an amazing time being close again. We've both been seeing other people and having fun with friends since the move, just happy to be in the same city again. We've been completely platonic for years now with no issues or hints of anything more, but for some reason a night at the bars turned interesting and we kissed in October. Thinking nothing of it, I brushed it off as a drunken moment and continued with the friendship at a kind of awkward pace, but friends nonetheless. Then the feelings came, and all of a sudden we're at dinner one night confessing love for each other and left together as a couple, to all of our friends' surprise. We discussed a future of moving in together, having kids. We even bought tickets to a cruise. It continued like a dream I never even considered until this December right before Christmas, where I was supposed to spend it at her house. I got a completely blindsiding text about how she doesn't think this will work because I need to focus on myself for a while, and she doesn't think that either of us are ready for this kind of thing. I felt completely blindsided and confused, and lashed out immaturely, saying she can't just walk away from such a big risk that we took. Our conversations afterwards had no productive outcomes, and her main focus was that we fix the friendship before we ever try anything again. Thinking I could save the relationship, I confessed my love for her on Xmas Eve, thinking we could go right back to our happily ever after. But I realize now that she didn't feel heard, and I ignored her wishes. I believe this made her shut everything down, and since then has become incredibly distant and cold towards me. I took the month of January to reflect in no contact, and realized I agreed that I wasn't ready for this type of relationship. I reached out again to admit I was wrong, and that I was embarrassed by my actions, and for overwhelming her. She seemed happy in accepting my apology and says she's happy to be friends again, but still remains distant and cold towards me. I could use some perspective on steps forward if any of you lovely people could spare the time. All our mutual friends either don't want to get caught in the middle or tell me to just move on, but I know I truly want to fix things and get back together with this girl, as she's very important to me. Thank you. Like and subscribe for more awesome daily Reddit content. And don't forget to hit the bell to get notified when I upload new videos.